Now, how can you make people quit their jobs, abandon their careers and their businesses in order to follow you, and yet you do not pay any of them any salary? Let's find out in this episode as we uncover the binding and motivating power of vision as demonstrated by the person of Jesus. Welcome. This is Meetu Personal Development Insights with Subila, where we share with you insights on personal development that reveal truth about life and about yourself in a manner that challenges you to look within yourself and find yourself. Because in this life, remember that anything that is important, anything that matters, anything that counts, if at all it is worth it, then it is hidden, and you are not an exception. And also, remember that in order to improve the quality of life of any nation, any organization, or even any family, you have to improve the quality of life of its people. But the quality of life of the people comes down to the quality of the choices that they make. And the quality of the people's choices will always reflect the level of their self-awareness. And the level of their self-awareness depends on the extent of their personal development. And the extent of their personal development is always stretched by the quality and quantity of insights that they get exposed to. This is why we remain committed to bringing insights of high quality, revealing truth about you, insights that will challenge you to look within you, find yourself, maximize and manifest yourself. Ultimately, let us help each other fulfill our God-given purpose in this life and maximize our destiny. And to take you through these insights, I am your host, Subila Kaunda. Now, previously we did part 2 of a series that we have been looking at, which is understanding vision. And in the previous episode, our focus was on helping you understand and be clear in terms of how to know whether the vision that you are running your life on is from God, the vision you're running your business on, or the vision that you're running the nation on, how to be sure that that vision is from God. So find time to listen to that particular teaching. It will help you because it gives a guide in terms of what you need to consider to know the source of your vision, because you may be misled like Hitler or Saul before he became Paul, and be convinced that you're running on a vision from God when in fact not. So find time to listen to that particular episode. Today I want to continue on the subject of vision, but today I want to focus on helping you understand how to master the art of communicating vision. So the topic for today is mastering the art of communicating vision. And I'll focus on 2 serious principles or foundations that you need to take into consideration in order to sharpen your ability to communicate vision and communicate it effectively. 2 powerful principles that you need to be aware of and to consider when communicating vision, so that you communicate vision in the most effective manner. So mastering the art of communicating vision. The first principle is realize what vision really is. Realize what vision really is. Now, vision is powerful, but sometimes even a powerful vision can be poorly communicated. And this is why it is worth noting that it is one thing to capture vision, but it is another thing to communicate it and communicate it effectively. This explains why God Himself has taken time to explain to us how to deal with matters of vision. It is found in the book of Habakkuk chapter 2 verses number 2. There we find God giving Habakkuk profound instructions in dealing with the matter of vision, the subject of vision. And the first instruction that he gives him is write the vision down. In other words, after you capture the vision, you do not have to remain comfortable keeping it in your mind. You have to transmit it to paper or some tablet. You have to transmit it from your mind through your hands to some tablet or some paper. Write it down. But God doesn't just tell Habakkuk to write the vision down. He also explains how to have it written down. He tells him to make it plain on paper. And the word plain there refers to clarity. And then he goes on to explain to him why he needs to make the vision plain. He tells him, so that the herald who sees it may run. So that the herald who sees it may run. And this is what makes vision powerful. The resultant effect it produces on the people who are receiving it. The resultant effect it creates to those who are on the receiving end of vision. According to God, a vision that is effectively communicated must result into the receiver running, or the herald running. The one who comes into contact with your vision, the one who encounters the vision after you have effectively communicated, must run. That's the way, that's what God teaches. That's what should happen. So this is what makes vision powerful. And I should mention that this is actually what separates vision from manifesto. Vision is not manifesto. Vision is different from manifesto. But I should mention that vision and manifesto do have one thing in common, and that is they both create excitement to those on the receiving end. That's one thing they have in common. Vision and manifesto both result in excitement to those on the receiving end. But the excitement that is created by manifesto is not the same as the excitement that is created by vision. And pay attention, because this is where the two differ. The kind of excitement that comes from manifesto is an excitement that leads to anticipation. But the kind of excitement that comes from vision is a kind of excitement that leads to participation. Now the two are different. So according to God, when somebody sees the vision that is written, here is what will happen to them. They will run. Now that word run there refers to a form of excitement which I am about to explain. So the vision is different from manifesto in the sense that the kind of excitement that comes from manifesto leads to anticipation, but the kind of excitement that comes from vision leads to participation. And this is what I mean by this. This explains why any leadership at any level, be it at national level, be it at organizational level, or even family or individual level, any vision, any leadership that is founded on manifesto will always produce a certain kind of followers. It will produce followers that are passive and they sit instead of running, as God said in Habakkuk. But they sit, and they sit in anticipation. They sit with an entitlement mentality, waiting for the promises that were made unto them by their leaders. So they are not active, they are passive. Yet the leadership that is founded on vision produces a different kind of followers. Followers who become so excited, but their excitement leads to participation. And what I mean by this is they get so excited that they actually want to engage and participate even with the little resources that they have. They feel like participating in bringing to life this picture that they've been given called vision. This explains why in the book of Luke chapter 8 verses 3, it's amazing how when Jesus demonstrated vision or vision kind of leadership, the Bible actually records that even the women, the simple women who participated in his team with the little resources, the little financial resources they had to help this vision be actualized. They participated in his ministry by contributing from the little they had, even in financial resources. So this also explains why when you walk into any nation or any organization, or any marriage or wherever, where the leadership at play is founded on manifesto, I guarantee you, if you take time to ask even 5, 10, or 15 random citizens about where their country is going, I can guarantee you they will not be able to tell you where their country is going. But they can recite to you the promises that were made to them by their leaders. You walk into any organization or any company where the leadership there is founded on a manifesto, the workers or the employees in that organization will not be able to tell you where the company is going, but they can recite to you the conditions or the promises that the company has made to them. This is the kind of followers that a manifesto-based leadership produces. And yet, when it comes to vision-based leadership, it's amazing how the followers are so excited by the picture called vision. They participate with the little they have, and they contribute in any way they can. If you walk into a company where the leadership at play is vision-based, even a sweeper will not tell you, I'm a sweeper in this company. They will answer about their contribution to the company by reciting what the company stands for and where the company is going. This also explains why manifesto-based leadership will always, or ultimately, it will wear the leaders out. Why? It is such a burden for the leader. This is why in a manifesto-based leadership, the leaders need position in order to carry out the promises that they made to the followers. Why? It is such a burden. It's a kind of leadership where the followers, it's almost as if every finger of the followers is pointing to the leader to say, aha, now that you are in that position, can you give us what you promised us? That's manifesto-based kind of leadership. But with vision, it's amazing how people who've understood this secret of a vision-based leadership actually have even gone down in history as the greatest leaders of all times. And it's amazing how when they mastered this secret, they actually realized that they didn't even need position. They started off by relinquishing their position. That's how come Mahatma Gandhi in 1915 abandoned his law practice from South Africa and went to execute his vision in his nation of India. The same thing happened to Nelson Mandela in 1962 when he closed his law firm in order to carry out his mandate for his generation. It also led to Martin Luther King Jr. stepping down as a Baptist preacher to go and focus on his leadership role of civil rights movement. The same thing happened to Mother Teresa, who had to let go of her teaching role and to go and focus on her vision of taking care of the poor. The same thing happened to Jesus. Jesus never even had a position. It's almost as if the people who've understood this principle, the leaders who've understood this secret, have realized that vision-based leadership is so powerful, you don't even need position to execute it or carry it out. Now, if I'm to summarize what I've described, the difference between manifesto-based leadership and vision-based leadership, here is what I would want you to imagine. I invite you to imagine a scenario where I am, as a leader, I'm trying to push a huge rock from point A to point B. And I do this by tying a rope around the rock, and then I come and tie the rope around my waist. And so I am trying to drag this rock. But in a manifesto-based leadership, as I am dragging this rock, guess where the followers are? They are seated on the rock. So somehow they are just increasing the burden of my task of the rock as I am trying to move it. They are increasing the weight. But in a vision-based leadership, guess what happens to the followers? They jump off the rock and help me to push this rock from point A to point B. So point number one in mastering the art of communicating vision is realize what vision is. Vision is not manifesto. Manifesto is a set of promises that are purely based on the prevailing circumstances. But vision is not promises. Vision is a picture of the ultimate end, a picture that inspires hope to those on the receiving end. And vision makes everyone wants to participate with the little they have. They feel like contributing to help this vision be actualized. The second principle to note in sharpening your art of communicating vision is realize what the best position for vision is. Realize what the best position for vision is. If you ask any entrepreneur, if you ask any leader in any sphere, be it political sphere, be it at church or in ministry, anybody, especially in business, they will tell you that the hardest thing to deal with in order to excellently run a business or a company, the hardest part they've had to deal with is human resource. With the little experience I've had in running businesses and in working for organizations, some of them on volunteer basis, I do agree with that 100%. The hardest part you will ever deal with is human resource. And I tell you the truth, and this is why we keep emphasizing on the importance of developing systems of control in order to effectively run a business, come up with systems. All that, coming up with systems and controls, all that has been necessitated by the fact that human beings are hard to deal with. It's hard to make people submit. It's hard to make people buy into what you're trying to achieve. It's hard to make people work as hard as they would even if you were absent. So what makes it difficult to have people comply or to submit? Why is it so difficult? Why is human resource the hardest part to deal with in any leadership endeavor? And I came to discover that the answer is just one thing. The reason why it's hard to make people submit, the reason why it's hard to deal with human beings, the reason why you need systems to regulate or bring the best out of human beings is because of one thing. And if you want to know the answer, here is the answer. Every human being, and I say every human being, regardless of their social status, regardless of their position, regardless of their financial status, even the person who sweeps your office or makes you tea, every human being, as long as they are human being, every human being was wired for dominion. And that's the answer right there. This is what makes it difficult for a human being to submit to another human being, because every human being was wired for dominion. Dominion means rulership. Dominion means being in charge. Dominion means being in control. Now, every human being in their DNA has this appetite for being in charge, being in control, for dominion. This is what makes it difficult to work with other people. This is what makes it difficult to make other people submit. And this explains why, naturally speaking, take it from me, no human being, naturally speaking, no human being wants to work for another human being. Yes, it's possible you do have people who pressure you for a job or two. They believe, they appear, they present themselves like they are willing to work for you. But I can tell you this, it is circumstances of life that have pushed them into that position. Naturally speaking, given a choice, no human being wants to work for another human being. This also explains why naturally human beings would prefer to work for a big organization where the owner is not just an individual, because no human being wants to wake up and dread the weather going for a place they believe they're just going to enrich another human being. That's not what human beings want. Now, if you ask me, Mr. Kaunda, if you say no human being wants to work for another human being, then what should human beings work for? And here is the answer. Vision. Human beings want to work for something they perceive to be greater than a fellow dominator. They want to work for something they perceive to be greater, and that doesn't have to be another human being. So if you are clever and if you are a leader or you're running a business, if you are in business and you have created an atmosphere in your company where they feel you are their boss and they are working for you, trust me, you are in trouble. That's not the kind of atmosphere human beings want. Human beings want to be convinced that even when they are leaving home, they are going to contribute to this thing called vision, something greater than another human being. And when you understand this, if you are a founder, do not continue to be a vision carrier. Go on and unleash that vision. Release it. And let it take the topmost position so that everyone in the organization, including yourself, you will now be working for this boss God vision. So the real boss, I've come to realize, if you want an atmosphere that is so motivating in your company, trust me, the real boss is not supposed to be a person. The real boss is supposed to be vision. And this is why, to me, Jesus goes down as the greatest leader of all times because of this one thing he did. He did something that I found to be very powerful. Can you imagine? He called his team members and he called them and he told them something that I found to be strange, a strange statement to be made by a leader. Guess what he told them? He called them and he told them, guys, I no longer call you servants. From now onwards, I will not call you workers. Can you imagine calling your team and telling them that I will not call you workers anymore? But that's what Jesus did. That was a leadership act. And he told them that from now onwards, I will not call you servants. It's found in John 15:15. He told them, from now onwards, I will call you friends. And he went on to say, because from now onwards, I have made known to you what my Father's vision is. In other words, Jesus understood the power and the real position for vision. He made them know that after announcing what the vision of the Father was about, him, together with his team, were now working for this one thing called vision. So go on and establish the topmost position, leave it to vision. Run an organization in such a way that the real boss is not you, but the real boss is the vision. And this is what people don't understand, that even God himself has done. God in Isaiah 138 verses 2 has announced that he has placed his word above his name, above himself. That is hierarchy. Even God has created a situation where he has something above him to report to. So if you're a leader, you're a boss, have something above you to report to, and let that be vision. Create an atmosphere in your company, in your cabinet, in your country, in your family, where everyone feels they are coming to actualize this vision. Those are the two principles I wanted to share with you. If you embrace the two, they will sharpen how you effectively communicate vision. Number one, realize what vision is. It's not manifesto. Vision is a picture that inspires hope. Manifesto is a set of promises based on prevailing circumstances. Number two, realize what the position for vision is. Vision belongs to the top. You and your team must work for vision. I want to appreciate you for taking time to listen to this episode. This is where we wrap up the series for vision, and I want to appreciate you, and I want to encourage you also to take time to listen to all the teachings on vision. So vision can be powerful, but even a powerful vision can be poorly communicated. I'll see you next time, and this was Insights with Subila, where we share personal development insights to challenge you to discover yourself. Discover yourself by discovering the vision for your life and the vision for the life of the people you will be privileged to lead. Thank you so much, and God bless you. Shalom, shalom.